Alright, this is Andrew with Joda Home Inspections. We're doing a sewer scope today here in Salt Lake City. We're at 1883 South, 600 East doing a sewer scope. Got the camera pushed out all the way to the city connection. You're going to notice some running water. It'll clear up here in a second as it quits running and as we get the camera away from the path of flow. But this first connection point is called the nose on. That's where it goes from your lateral line into the main city line. Also, I'm gonna note it is August 16th, 2022. 120 feet out. Pretty average length of a sewer line. Usually I see 100 to 120. I'm going through the roof stack, so 120 is not uncommon. This looks like transite pipe so far. Transite is a cement asbestos. Now, so far, this is looking good. No standing water, no roots. Pretty soon, you'll see some roots coming in the line. That's going to be something that you want to have cleaned out. This looks like clay. A little bit of a red terracotta color. There's some roots. Those ones are kind of medium, or even you might even consider it a little on the smaller side. Still big enough that it could catch waste and create a blockage, which could lead to a backup. That one's a little bit bigger. You can see it coming through the right-hand side of that pipe. Once you have roots, you're always going to have roots. It's something that you'll need to maintain in the future. You want to have them ideally hydrojetted out. They can also cable them out, but when you cable it, it just kind of punches a hole through the blockage. There's a pretty big one. That one's covering probably more than half the pipe. There's a clean out. I don't remember seeing that one. It's probably buried. I did see one on the side of the house. A little bit of an offset here. That's an area where the pipes have slipped a little bit and created that lip. That's a spot where waste could also get stuck. Fairly typical to have little offsets at this point, this stage of a line. Not ideal. The only way to permanently fix an offset is to dig it up and re-slope it. Now, there's some more roots. I definitely recommend a hydrojet here, as I've mentioned. But aside from that, I'm not seeing standing water, which is great. Now, we're coming up on an area where it looks like the line is shared with the neighbor's line. This spot right here looks like it might be a tie-in where the neighboring line is tying into your line. Now I'm not positive, I'm not exactly sure where this is. When you have the line hydrojetted, I would have them, well, first they'll include a camera generally, and so they'll be able to see the line once everything's cleaned out to look at areas that I couldn't see that were blocked by the roots. But they could also locate this area here and see if that's out in the yard. The only thing that would really be tying into the line out in the yard would be a neighboring line. When you have a shared line, that's something that could exclude you from being able to get insurance on the line. There's also this spot here. So both spots look like they could possibly be tie-ins. So as you come around this turn, if this is under the house, not a big deal. That's just a different area of the house draining into the line. But it also looks like it might be, if that's out in the yard, that could be a neighboring line feeding into the line. A little bit of standing water here, and then we transition to cast iron. So let me pause for a minute. First, more on the neighboring line. If that is a shared line, that can exclude you from getting insurance on the line. There's a really common insurance in Salt Lake called HomeServe. I generally would recommend it. First, here I would find out if that's a shared line and if it's going to exclude you from getting coverage. Another big root, we've talked a lot about the roots and getting it hydrojetted. And then last thing in this area is that you have some cast iron. And that's what you have under the house and in the house. The issue with cast iron is it can get very rough and rusty, and it can allow waste to get stuck, which can lead to a backup. So we start coming up the stack at about 20 feet. And so I would imagine if this goes straight out the side of the house, that's probably about 10 feet out, which is roughly the same spot where it looked like that line had a tie-in. You have a clean out on the side of the house towards the north, outside, right in between the houses. And so it's definitely possible that this line is shared. It might not be a bad idea to get the insurance. Shop around and see if you can get one that will cover a shared line. Second, even if you can't, they would still be able to cover what's under your house, and that way if you have an issue with that cast iron, it would be covered. So just to recap, you have a mix of transite, clay, and cast iron. I would recommend getting it hydrojetted now to get rid of all those roots and prevent a blockage and a backup. And then I would also recommend having them locate where that tie-in is to see if that indicates that it's a shared line. I'm going to end this recording now.